Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having an amazing time. I'm here with Ashley and the rest of the chickens. They all wanted to see what was going on. Ashley is the sweetest little girl. She gets bullied really badly by all the other hens, but she's such a sweet girl and she's so inquisitive. She's actually been in some of the other videos as well. Before we get going today, I just want to thank a huge number of you guys for the wonderful birthday wishes. I don't really like celebrating my birthday. I kind of try not to, but as I've got older, I suppose I've accepted that it's something that most people do, and so I have slowly started to start celebrating. I can't really believe that I'm 41 today, but it does mean that next year I get to be the answer to life, the universe, and everything, which frankly is pretty darned cool. And I guess I only get to be the answer to life, the universe, and everything for 1 year of my life, so bring it on. Also, I want to thank those of you who were silly enough to enjoy the Halloween special with Queenie. I had a hoot of a time working with Queenie on that. I know that she had a great amount of fun and time. She's a real diva, and I really enjoyed just doing something silly for Halloween. Again, I don't normally do anything silly for Halloween because this time of year is not a great time of year for me. And it was real fun just to be really stupid, let my hair down, and bring Queenie out. Queenie goes to a lot of, charity events normally. And because of COVID, we haven't been able to go anywhere. I haven't been able to be Queenie for any events really this year. In fact, I think this is the first time for about 6 months that I've actually been able to do anything with her. So thank you for letting me do that. Also, thank you if you donated to the charity, the Environmental Defence Fund that we were working on yesterday. That was really awesome. Do you want to go, Ashley? Go on. She wants to go with the rest of the chickens because they've all run off pretty much, except Carolyn. So she wants to go and see what they're doing. Which brings me to what I want to talk to you about today. So a couple of weeks ago, Tesla began pushing the software update that switched on full self-driving capabilities in cars of Tesla beta testers. And the whole purpose of pushing out the beta test software is so that Tesla can see how it works in the real world with a closed group of pre-selected people that Tesla trusts not to do anything stupid with it, and to help the system grow, to iron out any kinks, and to make sure that the cars are operating as they should. Now, normally, beta software doesn't necessarily always include improvements to Autopilot, but this time it did. The full self-driving software switched on. And since then, we've seen lots of different videos featuring that full self-driving mode being tested out. Sometimes the videos have been pretty short, sometimes they've been pretty long, pretty comprehensive, and for the most part the videos seem to show the cars driving moderately well. Sometimes though they're showing the cars making really stupid mistakes that a student driver might make. And it makes me wonder where exactly full self-driving is right now. And I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been talking about it on Twitter. I actually swore about it on Twitter the other day and said I don't genuinely believe that it's ready for prime time yet. Obviously it is in beta, but it's being tested as a beta software in the real world with other people. And that's a lot of pressure on the Tesla owners who have full self-driving enabled on their cars. It means they have to be 100%, on the ball, paying attention at all times. It is all too easy when you are driving a car that is semi-autonomous to kind of get into that uncanny valley where you think, the car's doing pretty well, and your attention will wander. Tesla has got in a lot of trouble lately, both from Consumer Reports and other organizations, for not having really enough driver attentive subroutines to check to make sure that the driver really is paying attention. Some other autonomous features on other cars include a lot of checks to make sure that the driver is looking ahead, they've got their hands on the wheel, or a combination of the above. Obviously, Tesla has the hand check, but unless Tesla has really changed the software and activated the camera in Model 3s, as far as I'm aware, it's still not using that to check to see if the driver is paying attention. And some of the videos that I've seen of these cars driving around suggests that, you know, all it would take was one momentary lapse of concentration and the car would be in a real pickle, and so might the driver be. Now, before you accuse me of hating Tesla, I feel that it's important to acknowledge that, you know, even if we're operating with a manual car, it's also very easy for a momentary loss of concentration to cause an accident. We have literally thousands of accidents occurring around the world every single day. And the majority of those accidents are down to human error, human distraction. And there's no difference between a human being distracted when they're in control of the car and a human being distracted when they are in supervision of an autonomous vehicle or a self-driving vehicle. The difference, of course, is that when we talk about autopilot, we're so used to the terminology of autopilot being something that indicates that the car is going to just take over and do it itself, which, by the way, is a completely false idea, because in the airplane industry, when you talk about autopilot, you're not assuming that the airplane is flying itself. You're assuming that the airplane is going to be following a set procedure, and whether that is maintaining a certain height or maintaining a certain speed or a certain heading. But the person, the pilot, is still having to be there to make sure that the autopilot works correctly. And in the past, you know, there have been numerous airline accidents in which the fault has been the pilot, because the autopilot was incorrectly programmed, or there was some other fault with it, and the pilot wasn't there to correctly respond to the situation, or they were distracted, or they incorrectly interpreted what was going on and tried to override what the plane was doing, which led them to overcorrecting, which caused a crash. Why am I saying all of this? Well, because on Earth, in the world where we are driving, we expect cars to behave in a certain way. And some of the features that I've seen, some of the behaviours, that I've seen demonstrated of autopilot seem to suggest that it has some issues with certain things, whether it is turning at a particularly difficult intersection, or whether it's going past a parked car. I saw one example where a Tesla was starting to go past a parked car and then slammed its brakes on for no reason, because it thought it saw something or detected something. It slammed its brakes on to be sure. But if I was following that car, even if I was following that car at a reasonably safe distance, I might not expect it to slam its brakes on. So it could in of itself cause an accident. And it led me to think, you know, we're seeing autopilot show itself to be really competent right now in a lot of situations. Everyday situations, it's really competent. It still is struggling with edge case use situations, which is the same as pretty much any other autonomous vehicle out there right now. You know, Nissan actually threw its hands up at one point and went, you know, yeah, we think that the real answer into the future would be to have a car that's autonomous most of the time, and then have a set of specially trained people back at some telematics headquarters who can react and help the car deal with those situations, those edge case use scenarios. And I've spoken to a lot of programmers this week. My spouse is one. Friends are programmers, and most of them said, you know, I would have felt uneasy allowing the general public to use that system right now. And my biggest fear, honestly, while I think that autopilot has the potential to save literally millions of lives around the world, and autonomous systems are genuinely going to be beneficial to people around the world, because it will help reduce accidents, reduce deaths, decrease congestion, improve fuel economy. The list is almost endless of the benefits. I think right now, Tesla's beta testing of its autopilot software, and I know it's something I've talked about before on this channel, but testing the full self-driving in a beta mode could, if Tesla is not careful, hinder the progress of autonomous vehicles, period. There is absolutely no reason why Tesla couldn't be testing this in a closed environment right now with fully trained drivers, with special test drivers, just like all the other automakers are currently doing with their autonomous vehicle programs. And personally, I would feel a lot happier and a lot safer if that was how Tesla was progressing with this and rolling it out. Now, I know some of you are going to say, yeah, but Elon Musk has tested it, and Tesla employees have tested it up to this point. But for it to be rolled out right now in its beta stage, it's still not perfect. It's still making silly errors and mistakes. And the videos I've seen have shown lots of near misses, which would make me not trust the system and not trust the car if I was a passenger. And I think that could ultimately hinder the rollout of autonomous vehicles. I think what I'm really asking is, do you think that we should require autonomous vehicle systems to undergo a driving test in the country where the automaker is seeking to deploy it? By that I mean, if we are in North America, we're in the US or we're in Canada, the car would have to undertake a driving test as if it was a student taking a driver's ed course. And if it passes the test, it gets, certified to be used in that country. If it doesn't pass the test, then the automaker has to go back and make some tweaks until it does. And, in countries like Europe, in parts of the world like Europe, in countries like the UK and Germany, where driving tests are a lot tougher. Even Australia and New Zealand have really tough driving tests when you compare them to the US. I think it would inspire a lot more confidence from consumers if you could prove that these autonomous driving systems could pass a driving test before they were rolled out. And then and only then, I think, would you then really be able to see confidence in autonomous vehicles, because let's face it, a lot of consumers don't have confidence in it. And then we'd really start to see, the benefits of autonomous driving be able to be played out. Personally, I would feel a lot happier being driven in a car that had passed the driving test. And also, at that point, if the car has passed the driving test, the automaker should indemnify the car owner from any accidents that occur when the car is driving itself. Now, I know that we're a little way from that. I'm talking level 5 autonomy. But lots of people have suggested that by, throwing in level 3, level 4 autonomy solutions into the marketplace when we don't have full autonomy yet is actually dangerous. And I'd love to know what you think below. Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thanks to the amazing people who are scrolling by on my right. Without you guys, we just wouldn't be able to make the content we do on a daily basis. And I'm really, really grateful for that. Next week is going to be a little bit crazy. Obviously, we've got the US presidential election coming up. And I don't know what's going to happen as a consequence of that. I'm not going to lie to you. I've had quite a lot of sleepless nights lately, thinking about the election, worrying about my place in the country, wondering whether my family is going to be safe if certain outcomes take place, wondering what's going to happen if militia, get involved. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's worrying about this kind of thing. So I'm going to try and do my best to give you as much normal content as possible next week. I also have to do jury duty. I got a jury summons last week, so I've got to do jury duty next week. So I honestly don't know how much content's going to be up, but I will do my best to be as comprehensive and as regular as I possibly can be in terms of uploading of videos. I know our video uploads have kind of dropped later in the day recently, but that's just because we've been really hammering our internet connection, and up here in the mountains, everybody's pretty much using the same ISP, and lots of people are working from home, which kind of means I'm contending with other people for the bandwidth. So I am sorry about that. All right, so I'll be back as soon as I can be. Thanks for watching. Keep evolving.